Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the next lecture. Right? So, we're going to open up and look at what we're doing today. So, this is lecture number 11 from March 25th, right? And this week, the abstract is due. But Sensei Albright, I don't even know what kind of paper I'm writing. How can I write an abstract? Well, I'll tell you. An abstract is a summary of what you believe your whole paper is going to be, right? So a lot of you, when you looked at your CFPs, you saw that they were asking for abstracts. That's a 250 word summary of your whole paper, right? This is not an introduction because the introduction doesn't give you a conclusion. This is an abstract because it gives the conclusions that you have for the whole paper, or at least the conclusions you think you're going to have for the whole paper. So, the kind of paper that you're writing is called an IMRAD, right? You see it down here, rough draft due on April 12th, and then IMRAD due April 26th. IMRAD stands for Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion, right? So we've got a cheat sheet here from Carnegie Mellon for you that shows you exactly the structure and what each part does. This is in Blackboard. So if you go to the course content section, right, you will see the IMRAD report cheat sheet right here. So the introduction is where you begin explaining to your readers what the problem is, right? You research this problem, and this research is necessary because blah. You should convince your readers that it is important that they continue to read, and discuss the current state of research in the field to expose a gap or a problem in that field, and then explain why your research is timely and necessary to be the solution to that gap. Methods. Methods are usually written in the past tense, that is, I did this or I did that, right? I measured the amount of tadpoles in a given pond. Yeah? You want to be specific about what kinds of methods you're using, right? Because you want to make sure that whatever experiment or procedure that you're using, somebody can come along and replicate that and get similar results to what you got. So you have to be very specific about the kind of methods you're using, right? In your results, you report the findings or outcomes of your research. So when I did these very specific methods, this is what happened. When talking about that data, you have two parts, right? You've got the report and the comment. So the report is where you refer to a table and report without commenting on it what exactly you got, right? So support that trend with the data, yeah? The main trend of the data, you want to make sure that you're bringing that out in the data in the report section. You can also talk about any secondary trends that you see and note any exceptions to your main trends or unexpected outcomes. Next, in the comments section, you need to provide an explanation for why you got these trends or why you got these results. You might show that two findings are consistent with one another or two findings contrast with one another, and explain why you think that is. If needed, you can evaluate whether the findings support or contradict your hypothesis or whether or not they answer your research question. And then the bottom line should also be contained in the results. What does it all mean? Yeah. In the discussion section, right, you should make these moves. Summarize the main findings of the study. Connect those findings to other research. Discuss flaws in your current study. And then use those flaws as reasons to suggest additional research, right? You should also state the implications of what research could come after yours, right? To help people decide what research to do, yeah? So this also contains examples of of writing each section, yeah? So a very good sheet, very short example. There is a much lengthier example in this document. Again, it is attached to the Blackboard course, right? So if you look at IMRAD example, you get this paper. Now, this is not a student paper. This is a research paper written by professionals. So bear that in mind when you're reading it. I don't really expect that your papers will be this thorough. However, it's something for you to strive for. Yeah? If you're still having trouble with the IMRAD, Dr. Satu Mananen here, if you just do a search for IMRAD on YouTube, Dr. Satu can help you know more about IMRAD. She is a very accomplished professor in English linguistics at Lund University. And she can help you along the way to your discovery of what exactly an IMRAD is, and how to get that done in a timely manner. Now, as for my expectations of you in the IMRAD writing, I expect the IMRAD will be around 15 pages. If it's more, it's more. If it's less, it's less. You don't want to get below 12 pages, and you don't want to get above 20. So 15 is a good middle marker for that. That is basically article length for your papers. You'll find articles are around that length pretty typically. I don't care how many sources you use, although I expect that I will see around 10. You don't want to get into the point where you're going more than 2 pages without citing something, right? And that's cumulative. So if in the introduction you're trying to introduce a gap in the research and you cite 15 sources in the very beginning, then you're going to be good to go for most of the paper. But what I'm expecting is that you will have about 10 sources in your whole paper. And that should be a good exploration of some of the literature on your topic. So after my IMRAD expectations, okay, so the abstract, I have provided you a resource as well. That's my friend from Brazil trying to reach out to me. So I've given you this abstract guide. Once again, it's in the content section. How to write an abstract. It tells you some basic guidelines for how to write that abstract. It's very short, right? And gives you one example. So you should be able to write an abstract. And once again, I think your abstract should be speculative. Often, what you'll find people doing is not writing the paper, but writing the abstract to see if they can get it approved to go to a conference, and then they will write the paper after they get the approval to go to a conference. So that's something that you can do as well. Write the abstract before you write the paper, and sort of discuss speculatively what you're doing and what you think you'll find. Right. So um, that's all I have for you with regard to the abstracts this week. Once again, the abstracts are the only thing due this week, right? So I think that with where we've got you now, you should be able to write the abstract for the IMRAD paper, um, and that shouldn't be too much of a difficulty for you, right? So at the end of this week, uh, we'll be discussing or at the end of this week, you'll be turning in the abstract. And then throughout the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about the IMRAD just to make sure that you're staying on track with that. If you see, it's our last major assignment. Yeah, the portfolio is really a collection of your assignments. So I don't expect that that's going to take a whole lot of extra time. Um, the IMRAD is really the last great big assignment. So I've given you a month to write it basically, and I think that you should be good to go, especially with all the steps we've engaged in along the way, choosing a CFP, writing your quote burgers, and then writing the abstract. And then I'm going to give you the chance to write that rough draft, send that to me, and get some feedback before you turn in the final IMRAD. All right. So I think that's all for today. Oh wait, forgot about your writing prompts. I wouldn't want to do that. So your writing prompts for this week. We're about to read the end of the last chapter of Kagan. So my students often have strong feelings about this book, and so I want you to talk about how you feel about the book, right? Um, Let me know if you got it, right? And if you think that Kagan's book was helpful in learning about the other things that we talked about in class. And then for your second writing prompt, I want you to uh, write about the process of writing the IMRAD. For a lot of you, this is going to be your longest paper, right? So talk to me about how you feel about writing a 15-page paper, and if there's any anxiety associated with that, or if you're feeling like it's a daunting task, just let me know. Um, and that won't change the fact that you have to write it, but it it may let me know that maybe I shouldn't be too harsh on you. Yeah, not that I ever have been, right? Uh, so I guess we'll see you all next time, and have a good week.